Speak Italian?
No.
Going live, and we're up.
And we're ready to rock. Buonasera, and welcome to Spaghetti and Baseballs, brought to you by the IBF. I am your host, Natalie Spitaleri, and tonight, I think we're going to switch it up. I have a new host tonight for the time being. Welcome, Frank Menachino. Frank?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
What's going on?
Well, I'm just hanging out and, doing a little hunting out in Illinois right now with a bunch of friends. So I'm just chilling out.
That sounds like fun. How long you been out there?
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah, this is my time to decompress. I don't have to talk to anybody except you guys.
Except us.
Just come out here with friends. Yeah, except you guys.
Exactly. No, it's going to be fun tonight. I'm excited to have you. You were going to be, look who showed up.
I just decided to make a fashionably late entrance, guys.
I don't know.
I thought you were doing your hair. I thought maybe you were doing your hair somewhere.
You know what happened is I got in the car and I apologize because you're my favorite guest that we've had so far. So I forgot that it was 8 o'clock because I got on a phone call and it was actually about some troubled youth, and then I lost track of time. So I'll just go like this. See, Steve, I got my hat. I was ready to jump in. Now I gotta get back behind the logo. So I'm ashamed of myself for this because this episode means a lot to me. Frankie, what's up, man?
How you doing, man? How you been?
No complaints. Now that I got you on the show, I'm all good. It
was exciting co-hosting with him, and then until you showed up. Seriously.
Well, I think the logo is really, frankly, just a better host than I am. I think that we decided that on our episode the other night of the Order of Sons and Daughters, Italian American Daughters.
Which I wanted to talk about for a quick second. Like, how awesome was that? We were guests.
Yes.
The Order of Sons and Daughters of Italy and America, and it was fun to be on the other side of that.
And now here we are 2 nights later. I'm not used to doing 2 shows in a week. Week snuck up on me, and I let everybody down. I feel like I let everybody down.
You'll make up for it. For sure.
Frankie, I just want you to know, like, normally, I don't know if you've watched any of our episodes, but normally I give like sick intros on people. And now I feel like I ruined it because you would be behind the curtain. And normally I would just drop like some nasty intros on people. I wasn't going to talk about your height at all because I was going to talk about your heart, and that's all. But I'm sorry. So you lost the intro. So I'll record it when the show's over, and then I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I think you should do that intro later. We'll just flip it. How about that?
Okay, we'll flip the script on the show. So that theoretically that means we should have to start with rapid fire, but I don't know if I'm ready for that yet.
No, I don't want to do rapid fire, but I do want to start. I do want to ask Frank, parents from Brooklyn, Italian. Your father has a construction company. So, and I'm going to steal Anthony Highboche, he is our Achievement Award winner for the IBF. And I'm going to steal his question. So where did it start for you? How did you get into baseball?
Well, I was a young kid, and my dad never wanted to force anything on me, so he took me when I was like 6 years old. He took me to the Little League and showed me kids playing, and he says, "What do you think? You think you want to do that?" And I said, yeah, I could do that. And then I just started playing baseball. But what a lot of people don't know is I was a way better football player than I was baseball player, and I loved football from the Pee-wees all the way to high school. I played baseball. It was fun. But when baseball was over, I threw my glove and bat in the garage, and that was it. I left it there until next summer. So I really wasn't that into baseball, but football, I played hockey. I would go hunting and fishing with my dad. I did a lot of different things.
Okay. So then when did you so played football, star football player, then baseball. So how did you make that transition and get into, like, once you went into college, because you went to the Gulf Coast Community College and transferred to University of Alabama. So when did you decide to go to baseball?
It really hit home when I was 16 years old and I got invited to an open tryout for the Yankees. And I went to Yankee Stadium and I did the workout with them. And that's when my dad was like, "Hey, maybe you should stop playing football and start concentrating on baseball."
Okay.
And I says, "No, that's not going to happen." I says, I'm finishing out my high school football. I love it, and you never know what's going to happen with baseball." So I did that, and then I went to Gulf Coast, and then I went to University of Alabama, and that was the best decision of my life because I had so much fun in both places.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure. I think I read a quote that when you were in Alabama, it was like the movie My Cousin Vinny. You just had the time of your life out there.
Well, that's the way they treated me, like with my accent and stuff. Like they couldn't understand me. I couldn't understand them. So it was quite the adventure.
I was
Oh,
just going to bring that up because I played with some guys from Alabama, and I think, you know, northeastern guys in Alabama, where it's like a foreign country down there, in terms of the accents and stuff like that. So, what was that transition like being in the South, and having to deal with a really completely different lifestyle?
Yeah, it wasn't that bad because I think I fit right in because I did hunt and I did fish and I had stuff to talk to them guys about. And baseball is a universal language. So once you start playing baseball with all these guys, the biggest thing is I earned their respect because I was better than a lot of them, especially the guys that I played with. I was better than them, so they were like, "Damn, this Yankee can play." So I think that's where you earn their respect is when you're pretty good at baseball or the sport that you're playing with them, and they finally just accepted me and went about my way. And I really didn't care if they did or not. That was my attitude. I'm here to play baseball, and I still got a lot of good friends that live in Georgia and Alabama. So it's the baseball thing.
Absolutely.
You play with you play with each other. It's just everybody becomes baseball's a small world.
So right after that, what's crazy to me is you got drafted pretty late, 45th round, I think. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, after a girl.
45th round, right? So first of all, did you ever picture yourself making it to the major leagues at that time? And then obviously you had a pretty long journey in the minors to eventually make it to the big leagues. Like, were there ever points in time, and you're a man near and dear to my heart for that, because you and I think they would have had to put us in jail to get us off the baseball field. But was there ever a point in time where you kind of thought, like, maybe this isn't for me?
When I signed that pro contract, I made it a point that this is it. I have to make it. Like there was no other option. And like Natalie said, my dad was in construction. So I would have my times when, I did everything you could do in the minor leagues. I made all-star teams. I made player of the year. I led the team in hitting. I did everything you could possibly do. And guys just kept jumping me. And I'm sitting there going, what do I have to do to get a chance? So every now and then I'd call home and I'd vent, and my dad would be like, "Hey, how many people can say they played minor league baseball? Pack your stuff, come on home. I got a job for you. You can work with me." And I'd be like, "No, all right, Dad, I gotta go. I'll see you later," and just hang up the phone. He knew how to push my buttons because he could tell when there was times I just wanted to say, "Screw it. You know what? I don't want to do this anymore." But I'm 28 years old now, and I don't have a skill set to really make a lot of money. I mean, I could have been a Teamster foreman or something like that, but that's not what I really wanted to do. So I left myself no choice but to make it. And I said to myself, I'm going to play until they tell me I can't play no more.
Yeah,
I'm going to wear, as long as I have a uniform on, I'm going to keep playing.
Yeah, because you always.
And I got lucky.
Yeah.
I got lucky. Guys got hurt. I filled in. And when I finally made it to the big leagues, it was like, all right, I'm here. Now I want to be an all-star. So it just kept building. And when I got my chance, I got lucky because when they said, okay, you're playing now, go ahead. This is your job. Go ahead. I went off. So when I got up there, I stayed up there, which was, a credit now as a coach. Wow, I worked my tail off, and I really accomplished a lot. So I'm very happy with my career.
So backtracking for a quick second, you got that call. So you played minor leagues for 7 years, and you got that call just a couple months shy of your 29th birthday. So how was that call like? And when you told your dad, I made it?
Well, I was having an unbelievable season in AAA. I was, one of the top 3 players, offensive numbers, and my manager at the time was Mike Quaddy, and there was a week left, and I come in one day, and I'm not in the lineup, and that was the furthest thing from my mind was like I'm getting called up because there was still 7 days left in the season. So I go in the manager's office. I said, "Q, why ain't I playing today?" And his desk, he's sitting at his desk, and his back's to me, so he can't see me. I can't see his face. And he doesn't even turn around and he says, "Because I'm the manager, I make up the lineup and you're not playing. If you don't like it, pack your shit and go home." So I walk out and it wasn't making sense to me. And I go back in. I said, "What do you mean pack my shit and go home? I need to play. I need to play these next 7 games. I need to show these guys that I could play in the big leagues. I need to play these next 7 games. I want to get called up." He goes, "I don't know what to tell you. Get out of my office." So now I leave and I slam the door. I slam the door and I leave, and I'm sitting in my locker. I go in the training room and I grab the tray and I said, "Walt, what's going on? How come I'm not playing?" He goes, "I don't know. I'm not the manager. Go XQ." I said, "I asked him," and he gave me an attitude. You know what? F him. I went back in the office and I shut the door. And I said, "Q, turn around and look at me." He turns around, his face is beet red, and he's holding in his laugh. And I go, "What's so funny? You think this is funny? I'm playing. I'm playing today." He goes, "Go pack your stuff. You're going to the big leagues." And I was like, "What?" "Yeah. Go pack your stuff up. You could stay for this game, or you can get on a flight and go to Oakland now." I was in Vancouver at the time. So I said, "I'm packing and I'm out of here." And he gave me a big hug, and that's how that went.
What an incredible story.
I love that story.
Yeah, because I was such a pain in the ass to him. I had like 2 days off the whole season.
Or to everybody?
Everybody.
I would say
but
everybody.
Especially him. The days I didn't play, I was loud on the bench. I was obnoxious. And he turned to me one day and he says, "You will never get another day off again."
We're Italian guys. We don't need days off. We just play. We just show up and get it done. That's what we do.
Exactly.
That's great.
So it was cool.
Obviously, you ended up having a really pretty remarkable big league career, especially for somebody that got there at 28 years old. That certainly in today's day and age, like pretty uncommon. You played your last game when you were, I think 34 would have been, you would have turned 35 that year. And then eventually you ended up even you went back and played, that was in the big leagues anyway, and then played in the minor leagues for a couple more years, if I'm not mistaken. Got hooked up in the WBC, and then even ended up playing a full season in Italy. Were you always like connected with Italy before that, or was that just kind of something that was a natural progression at that point?
I played for the WBC the first year they had it in 2006.
2006, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I told them guys, I said, "Hey, when I'm done playing, I'm going to come play with you guys in Italy."
That's awesome.
And when I finally had enough, I said, "Let me go and play in Italy. I want to see what it's like, and I'll get to see Italy at the same time." And it was a great experience, but my back was hurt. I really couldn't play that well. I couldn't play every day, really. And once it got to the point where I couldn't perform, I just told them, I said, "Hey, my back's messed up. I'm going home." That's when I knew I had enough. I had enough. And, I was hitting 372 in AAA, and I couldn't get called up. And I was like, "That's it. I'm done. I'm not going to fight this anymore."
Well, I mean, I think clearly the game was obviously still such a big part of you that you got into coaching pretty much immediately after retiring as a player, right? Like there wasn't much of a break at that point.
It was 1 year. It was 1 year. I needed 1 year because I was a little bitter that I couldn't get back to the big leagues. And Brian Cashman called me twice before that for a job, and I said, Cash, I'm not ready to quit playing. I'm not ready yet to coach. I don't want to be the coach that grabs the bat out of the player's hand and shows them how to do it. I wasn't ready for that. I don't want to be that guy.
Right.
So I took a year off. I didn't even watch baseball. I took a complete year off. And then 2009, I called the Yankees and they gave me a double-A hitting coach job. And that's when I started. I always knew I was going to coach. I was a natural coach even when I played. So it was just a matter of when, and that was when I was ready to do it.
Nice.
I'm surprised the Yankees called you. How many times did you land on Jeter's head?
I
know. He tried to get me a lot, but I had to show him, listen, you're not going to keep coming in here like this. And I had to finally just land on him a couple times.
Hey, that's the football mentality you used to have, right? Look at those forms. You can see the veins popping out there. I mean, the one thing I'll say, I've been around you a lot, and when you hug me, it hurts. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is a strong dude. Definitely stronger than I am. That's for sure.
I don't know about that.
I'll never forget the first time you and I met through technically, you already had my best friend, Alex Trezza, had told me, "Oh yeah, I know Frankie." And then you were in Scranton in 2013 as the hitting coach for the Scranton. What is it, Rail Riders? Why wouldn't they just be the Scranton Yankees at that point?
It was the Yankees, and then they changed it to Rail Riders.
Yeah, the Rail Riders. So you were in AAA, and I remember you and I, the first time I met you, I think we talked in the parking lot for like 45 minutes when I got to the field. And that was a cool experience for me because, I always looked up to the guys that had a vowel on the end of their last name in the big leagues, even though I don't look up to you in real life because I'm like a foot taller than you. But,
And not the short jokes.
And the only reason Natalie, the thing you don't understand is I've been planning this for like a week, right? Because I know that if I'm around Frank, I can't make short jokes because he'll kick the crap out of me. But because there's a screen separating us, then I can get away with it. You know what I mean? Like I'm on my high horse. I'm like a keyboard warrior. That's what they call me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 2013 was your last year coaching in the minors, and then 14 was the year you got your first big league hitting coach job with the Marlins. Is that correct?
Yes, I was with the Marlins for 5 years, and then I signed with the White Sox. And last year was my second year with the White Sox. My first year with them was in AAA, and I had a blast. People are like, "Oh, sorry, you're only in AAA," but I had a blast teaching them kids in AAA. I brought my big league program to AAA, and they loved it, and that helped me get the job in the big leagues this last year. So it was a lot of fun.
So did you replace Barry Bonds as the hitting coach for the Miami Marlins?
Well, I was there for 2 years, and then they hired Barry, and they made him the head guy and made me the assistant.
You were the assistant. Okay. Yeah, that's right.
And then Barry was only there for 1 year. And then Don Mattingly brought in Mike Pagliarulo to be the head guy. And once they didn't make me the head guy after Barry left, I was like, all right, it's time to go somewhere else. Pags was with me for 2 years. And I figured, you know what? It's time for him to have his own program, and I'll have mine. So I was okay with not coming back and going to AAA and just trying to find somewhere else.
That's awesome. And you know what? I just in talking to you, and obviously I understand the hitting world a little bit, and I think the more and obviously because of your career path and getting to the big leagues the way you did. And having it take a long time, and then even being a part-time player for different parts of it. One of the things that I think I always really revered about our conversations that I really enjoyed was that you've never forgotten how hard it was to be a good hitter. And I think you're so good at conveying that message to younger players and remembering how difficult it is and really being able to apply the things that you were able to do as a player into your conversations with them. And that's, I imagine, why you connect really well with players.
Yeah, you know what? I have a couple of rules, as a coach. Never forget how hard it is to play. You got to have some compassion. And there's a time to kick them in their ass. And I push my players to the edge. but I could yell and scream at all my players, and they know it comes from my heart that it's for the best, their best. And I'm there for them. I'm available, whether it's after a game, before a game, early work. Hey, let's get there early. We'll do some early stuff. I'm always available because I know how hard it is to play, and I want to see these guys succeed. That's my new competition, to get the most out of all my players. That like when my career is over with. So, and I've told players this before. Hey, my career is over. You don't want to do the work. I don't care. It's your career. But under my watch, you're going to work, because can't is not in our vocabulary. I don't want to hear can't. I can't do this. I can't do this. I tell all my guys right from the beginning, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, or you're never going to grow. So I teach them these ways, and I got to pick my times. There's guys in the minor leagues that never fail, and they come to the big leagues and they think they're not going to fail. And you see it. You see the stuff that they're doing is not going to work. But you have to wait. You have to wait. You got to pick your spots to when they come to you and say, "What do you got?" And you better have something for them. And it's not, let's try this, let's try that. Oh, that all right, let's try this. When I talk to my players and there's adjustments to be made, I let them know. I know this is going to work. I know. I've studied it. I've watched it. I've seen it work with other people. I know this is going to work. So I try to eliminate, let's try this, let's try that. Because, Chris, when you're playing and you were in a slump, you'd listen to the bus driver. Hey, why don't you try this? Hey, why don't you try? These guys want to try stuff just because they're 0 for 10.
Right.
So my job is to keep them on the same page, same everything. You're just in a little bit of a funk, or you're just hitting balls hard at people.
Exactly.
And guess what? You're supposed to hit balls hard. That's what I tell them.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest adjustments I think you made with, when you were with the Marlins with Giancarlo, changing the mechanics of his stance, right? When he hit his 59 home runs and had the most runs batted in that year.
Yeah. I mean, he had a couple of things he was doing wrong, and it was basically an overemphasis of his feet. He was kind of stepping in the bucket a little bit. So he come to me and he said, "Hey, I got to stop doing this." I said, "Why don't you start closed?" And, Andre Dawson was a special assistant with us. And I said, "Why don't you set your feet up like Hawk? Set them up like Hawk. And if you happen to leak a little bit, at least you'll be back to even." And he got hit in the face, and everybody said, and even he said it, "Oh, I'm not scared of the ball. I'm not scared of the ball." Well, subconsciously, they were pounding him in, and they were trying to buzz his tower so they could go away, and that's going to make you jumpy. Yeah. So by setting his feet up that way, it basically taught him how to get out of the way of the ball turning in. Now you're turning in, protecting your face and your hands, and you wear it on the shoulder and the back. And that was my best offensive weapon right there, hit by pitch. So I know how to get out of the way.
Hey, well, part of what would have been your introduction and your, and again, I don't know if you watch the show or not, but like after I say all these nice things about people, and I guess right now is the time, Natalie, and we're just going to do like a partial intro. Yeah. I talk about my favorite stats about guys, Frankie, and just for the world to know, in 2001, you were second in the American League in hit by pitches. Was it, I think you had 15 or 19? I can't even remember the number. But
I had 20 and Eckstein had 22.
Okay, so you're turning into that sucker. And then here's my other favorite stat. Also, 2001, a big year for you because you were, and I want to say the number was second in this too. You were second in the American League in range factor per 9 innings by a second baseman. So, that's a really cool accomplishment as a player. Like, who would have ever thought that you could have finished second in range factor as a second baseman only per 9 innings, though? Because I think you were 5th in regular range factor for second baseman.
Well, I was also third in Major League Baseball with pitches per at bat.
Well, that's not that's like a too good of a stat. Like I just try to find like obscure stats, Frank. I ruined it by not. I didn't get the proper intro, so I messed it up. But what do you even know what range factor per 9 innings is? If you don't know, then I don't know how anybody else would know because you actually coach in the big leagues.
Maybe you can explain it to the layman.
Okay. Can the talking logo that is a human tonight actually tell us what range factor per 9 innings is? Like we have to go to our producers for that, I think.
Yes.
The producer doesn't know. That's why he's asking.
Oh, all right. Yeah, it's an obscure stat, but just so you know, like you're really high up it.
What is it?
He can go pretty far to get the ball.
All right. So the range factor per 9 innings it's 9 times the amount of putouts and assists that you have combined. You have to multiply it by 9 and then divide it by innings played. So, sorry, you were 3rd in the American League in 2001 in range factor per 9 innings as a second baseman.
Well, I got to give credit to Mulder and Huddy for that because they got a lot of ground balls.
You kept getting them ground balls in Oakland, right?
Yeah.
You kept getting them ground balls. So, all right, now speaking of that, you were part of that team that ran off the most ridiculous streak in ever, right? Like that was the proverbial Moneyball. Yeah. So, talk a little bit about that experience, and obviously, also, how do you feel like you were portrayed in the movie Moneyball? That can be second.
That was, you know what? That was one of the true parts of the movie right there. That was actually true. They did send me, Carlos, and Jeff Tam down because we were the only 3 guys with options. So that was true.
I actually remember hearing that.
Billy made a big shakeup. He sent 3 guys down with options. Oh, big deal.
Did you have a part? Did they show your character in the movie? I can't remember.
No.
I feel like I saw the logo on the jersey at one point, though. So you're even Hollywood famous.
Yeah, Brad Pitt said my name. Ooh.
Realistically, I think they should have had Brad Pitt play you. I think it's messed up that Billy Beane had Brad Pitt play him. I think Brad Pitt played you.
Joe Pesci could have played me. That would have been perfect.
Yeah, I mean. I think
Robert De Niro could have played me.
Exactly. We would have needed a Paisan. But so being like, were you there for the 20-game stretch or no? Were you down in the minor leagues already?
I got called up when we were 5 into it. And here's something they don't talk about and what people don't know. During that 20 game, the bench guys, we had a name for ourselves. We called ourselves the Goon Squad. Right? We play when you can't. We're always ready. We're the Goon Squad. Right? So there was a couple of times when we were getting blown out, 4 or 5 runs, 5, 6 runs in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and Art Howe took the starters out and put us in, and we came back and won the game during that 20 game.
Yeah.
The Goon Squad had about 4 or 5 wins in that streak.
Nice.
And we lost the streak in Minnesota right after David Justice's big speech about how great the streak was, and he's never seen anything like this before. And let's just keep going out there and playing our game, and we lost. So after the game, Chavez says, "Nice fucking speech, Justice. Way to go." So
that's just like a massive fail, right? Like that's a massive fail.
Yeah, but we were always all over each other in Oakland, so there was no line to cross. So it was like a big joke. Way to go, Justice. Nice speech.
It looked like a fun group, obviously, and I think that, and you could probably attest to this. Like, I mean, you have to have that kind of camaraderie and like kind of bond with teammates and players to be able to do something that special. Obviously, like that doesn't just happen if you don't have buy-in from 25 people. Like even talking about the Goon Squad, and I'm gonna remember that forever now. But even just
I had it on my shoes.
Yeah, like that's incredible because you can't get it done without all 25 guys.
No, we played for each other. We actually played for each other.
Great.
when we were if we were losing 11-1, and Guthrie, a relief pitcher, comes in the game, and it's 1st and 2nd, 2 outs. I'm diving to make that play because I don't want his ERA to go up. That's how we played for each other. So it was special because We hung out together. We did things together. First day in on a road trip, we got 16, 17 guys going to dinner together.
That's amazing.
So
That's awesome.
You have to have fun together.
The coaching staff didn't have to police us. Whereas nowadays, these guys are a little, no one wants to be the bad guy. No one wants to say nothing, but I'm constantly telling these guys, what are you telling me for? Go tell him.
Right.
The common thing I get is so-and-so keeps swinging at the first pitch and then I got to take a strike. I said, so what do you want me to do? Go tell him. Go tell him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know exactly what you mean. I want to side note this because you brought up ERA as we look at pictures of you just constantly kneeing people in the face. You brought up ERA, and one of the things I like to talk about on the show is we had Sal and Drew Butera on last time, and they had like a big family debate about who's the better pitcher. And Sal actually has a 0 ERA in his career. Drew's given up some runs. Now, you want to talk about Jekyll and Hyde. In your first career outing on the mound, you got lambasted. Is that true?
Well, hold up. Okay. I was in Colorado, and they got 3 jam shots off of me. Helton hit a double, but he off the left field wall, and he couldn't pull me. He had to go oppo. And I did get a double play ball to get out of that inning. Todd Walker hit the first pitch out. It was about a 60-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle, and then I got pissed after he pimped it. And a pitcher got his first career hit off of me, and as he's going to first, I said, that shit don't count. Bobby Chenard. I said, Bobby, that shit don't count. Don't get – I'm not – and Buddy Bell was the manager for the Rockies, and they wanted the ball. I said, I'm not giving anybody the ball. It don't count.
That is amazing.
Well, wait a minute. Now,
then I pitched against the Yankees, and they didn't get any runs off me.
After that outing, that was a full inning outing in 2000, and then you went into 2004, and you pitched a third of an inning.
2/3.
Well, it was a third plus. No,
it was 2/3. I got a double play.
Baseball Reference lied because it says you pitched. It says you pitched with Oakland that year, and you didn't. It doesn't say you have an inning recorded, but then it says you got a third of an inning with Toronto. So after that, you really locked it in, and you didn't give up a run. So I get the impression that did you make some adjustments over those 4 years, or was it just were people scared to get hits off you after that moment in Colorado?
I never walked anybody. You got that stat?
Yeah, 0 walks.
0 walk.
You get it right.
I have your exact line. I had written this out earlier in the week. I want you to know something. I don't take notes very early on before our shows because I'm kind of like a rinky-dink host. I don't consider myself a host of a show. I consider myself somewhat of an entertainer, kind of an idiot, and really I'm just here to support Natalie and the IABF. But for this show, I started taking my notes a week ago because I was so excited to talk to you. And I hadn't done that with anybody. So I have your exact pitching line. It's right here in front of me. In 2 years, you have 2 games. You have no complete games, which obviously. But you have 1 1/3 innings pitched, 8 hits given up, 4 runs, 4 earned, 1 homer. And now in today's metrics, you have a 12.86 FIP, which is not good. And the funny thing is you only have a 6 whip, but I think 6 is the highest. I think you can go higher, but for whatever reason, it stayed at 6. Oh, you know what it is? Because you only have 8. You only have 8 hits given up in 1 1/3 innings, and it's not recording the second third of the inning. So I don't know if somebody challenged that other 2/3 to get you to 2/3, but you have more pitching appearances than me, and I'm glad that you ended on a good note after that abysmal first outing. I mean, I had
Matsui 0-2. I hung a curveball and he got a base hit. That would have been my first strikeout.
You would have got the punch out. You have no punch outs. What
No.
was your? Did you ever look up at? Were you radar gun watching, or was there like Did you throw like your hardest one time and go like, what do I got in the tank?
No, because I got warned both times. Do not get hurt.
Yeah.
Do not throw hard. So I have no idea how hard I was throwing.
I feel like you were too valuable an asset to the teams. You know, like, oh, this is Natalie. Is this from
my dad?
Yeah.
Frank's career deserves its own movie.
Without a doubt. Listen, my book is going to be off the charts. And I warn people every day, be careful. You're going to make my book. Be careful.
I think more than just your career. I think your whole life is a movie, because I'm telling you, I've never, when I saw you at the IBF dinner last year, you know, and there's some dudes there, but there was no interaction that I had like the one I had with you. Like, you know, you see Catalano, you know, Lee Mazzilli's there, Johnny Franco, Girardi was there, you know, Natalie was obviously there, like one of the guests of honor. Like, I don't know if I'll ever be a guest of honor at an IABF dinner, but whatever. I don't even, you know, it's not a big deal.
One day you'll be. One day.
Natalie, that's when you're supposed to go like this and pop your
I know.
off, you know.
You want to see it? You want to see the award?
Yeah, it's right there. I mean, you leave it in the shot. Yeah, it's right there. It's where it should be. So I'll never forget, like, I hadn't seen you the whole night because I kind of got there, like, toward the end. You were on the other side of the room. I got put in the little kids section. I was all the way on the far end. But I remember seeing you, and you gave me an unforgettable hug, and we talked hitting for about 15 minutes. And, you know, all my entertainment for the night came from you that night. Not that
I was hanging out with Barbara. I was hanging out with Barbara Catalanato. That was my date the whole night because Frank was so busy.
Do you realize that you ate while I was talking to you? So there was like something on the table. I don't know if it was I can't remember if it was cookies or chips. And the dinner had been over. Like, we'd had dessert. Yeah. But like, you kept reaching to the table to grab whatever it was you were eating, and you kept eating it, and you were making me mad because I was like on a no carb, no sugar phase of my life, and you were like, "Nah, these are delicious. Like, I'm just gonna keep eating them in your face." And by your face, I mean your chest, because you're way shorter than me.
Frank, all he wanted to do was make fun of your height. The first thing he said when we heard you were going to be the guest. I'm sorry.
I mean, I gotta have something. The guy, like, he's got a better career WAR than me. I think he's got a better career batting average than me. I have more homers, I think, right? I have more home runs. But
how many? How many you got?
I'm at 28, maybe.
You got 28?
Yeah. Well, you have more.
Keep eating right and practicing. You'll get more than me.
See, and I'm short, and I have a WAR that you don't have either. So
you know what? It is what it is. It is what it is. I don't even have you in homers. I have nothing on you. All I have is height. That's why. I have nothing on you.
Well, check this out. All the short jokes I ever heard in my whole life, I get to spew them out on Nick Madrigal, our second baseman, because he's like 5'5".
Yeah, that's awesome. And you had the distinct pleasure of having Edwin Encarnacion and my former teammate, and you had Ryan Goins there for a bit this year. So you had my two guys from Toronto.
Oh, Joe, show up on time, Chris, and we'll honor you.
Wow.
Anyway, I'm going to do the rest of the show like this.
It's all right. We adore you.
No, I don't like being late to things. It's just...
What happened?
Chris, what's your best short joke? Like, what's your best rag for a short guy? Let me hear it.
I don't even see. It's funny you're asking me that, right? Because that would imply that, like, I actually have to, like, remember the joke. I'm spontaneous. I'm like an on the fly guy. So I just think of what I don't actually have like a, you know, something that I could go to. Like,
you want to hear the funniest? Do you want to hear my funniest one that was said to me?
Yeah, of course.
I'm playing in Texas. I'm playing third base, and there's a bunch of college kids. And you know Texas, how close third base is. The stadium, how close it is to third base. These guys are ripping me, and I'm looking at them, and I'm saying shit back at them, and I had 3 balls blistered off my chest, off my wrist. One hit me on the collarbone and went into the outfield. So I had 2 misplays. I got the guy out, but there were bullets off of me, and one was an error. And these guys are ragging me, and the one guy yells over and goes, "Hey, Menachino, you're so short. We see your feet in your driver's license photo." And I just lost it. I lost it. I started cracking up laughing. I pointed to the guy and I said, "Dude, that's the best joke I ever heard in my life." And they left me alone the rest of the game.
And then you become best friends with them. So that's like great joke, number one. Number two, for any advice for anybody out there who's getting razzed by fans or like a visiting team is getting on you, all you got to do is start making fun of yourself with them. And then all of a sudden they're your best friend.
Yeah.
Join them. Can't beat them, join them.
I had a situation. We were in Toledo. I was in Toledo in AAA one year, and we ended up playing like a 20-inning game. And you know, I was, thank God I was having a good year. So like you're tolerating like your 0 for 4s and your 0 for 5s. You don't like them. But we get to the 9th inning, like we tie the game, and I'm 0 for 4, and I'm like, gosh, I'm gonna get another at bat. Get my 5th at bat. I'm 0 for 5 with 3 punch outs. And now the guys near the on deck circle are just absolutely destroying me. They're like, Colbell, you're gonna get a hit tonight. You're gonna figure it out. Like for like an at bat or two, I was like trying to pretend they weren't there. So now finally, like I'm 0 for 7, and it's the 19th or 18th inning, and I turned to them. They're like, "You stink," and I was like, "Yeah, you ain't lying." Like I couldn't hit water if I fell off a bridge right now. They're like, "Maybe you should try somebody else's bat," and I'm like, "All right." So I went and grabbed somebody else's bat. I hit a homer in the 20th inning. And I came in and touched home plate. I was like, "Thanks, that's on you guys. Appreciate you." And they started being like best friends after that. They wanted to hang out and get beers after the game.
Way to do it.
Yeah, they felt like they helped you.
Yeah,
we helped him. If it wasn't for us, he wouldn't have done that.
Exactly.
Anyway, so a little bit, you know, obviously there's you're a weird time in the world. And obviously being the coach that you are, coach, extravagant coach, what was the word I was looking for? Extraordinaire. That's what I was going to say. What advice do you have for young players that, you know, have had to deal with a weird time of year, both from like a training on their own perspective, and obviously players that like would like to pursue the game going to the next level?
My biggest advice is, number one, be careful who you get your information from. You know, really do your homework on where you're getting your information from. You know, everybody that plays this game has talents for the game. You always want to try to improve your talents. You want to try to improve your God-given assets of the game. You know, sometimes getting better as a player means not changing something, means being more consistent in what you do. You know, and whatever you put into this game is what you get out. You know, and I know, you got to bust your ass. You got to practice. You got to try to get an edge. You got to try to outwork. There's no substitution for outworking, you know, your teammates, your opponents. You'll be as good as you want to be as long as you put the work in, and it's never going to change. You know, you got a round bat and a round ball. Some stuff's never going to change. You got to put the work in. You know, if you love it, it'll show. But be careful where you get your information from. Make sure you understand who qualified to give you that information. That's one of my biggest pet peeves.
That's an awesome answer. I think there's obviously, and one of the things that I've noticed too, and it's just so strange because there's so many people that think they're qualified to talk about hitting now. And obviously, like, the internet is a resource, right? The internet has information everywhere and social media and this and that. But I think what's happened a lot, and I talk to a lot of young hitters, I've got some college guys, and everybody wants this magic formula, right? They want this magic wand. They want to say, here, I've dubbed you as now you're good at hitting because, you know, you're making the bat go behind you or you have better mechanics. And like you said, some things will never change. Hitting a line drive will never be bad in baseball, right? And of course, we all want to hit the baseball harder if we can. but we certainly don't want to sacrifice our ability to square the ball up consistently or to give ourselves the best chance to square the ball up. And I think the message that's kind of been driven to the youth of today is, hey, you have to hit everything harder. We need exit velocity, exit velocity, exit velocity. And now you get these kids that are caught up in trying to create a metric rather than understanding how to hit, right? And, you know, I was actually doing a video about this the other day, talking about I'm so tired of hearing about the launch angle generation, right? First of all, like launch angle has been a thing forever. There's always been a degree of that a ball gets hit at. It's just never got measured. But the reality of it was all the guys that started doing swing changes, like when I started exploring swing changes, it was to get more hits. Like I was trying to get more hits. I wanted to get on base more. I wanted to not make outs. And now it seems like everybody's just trying to hit a home run. And the game's like shifting, and I think in a bad direction, especially as pitchers get better. I think, you know, hitters are saying they're getting better, but like, you know, you just got people trying to launch the ball out of the ballpark all the time and telling me that 2-run singles don't exist anymore.
Yeah, well, here's my thing. Just because you could measure it doesn't mean it matters. Okay? You could have a great swing and not be a good hitter. There comes a time when you have to compete, and it's all about approach for me. If you look for a ball in a zone, get it, and just swing, your mechanics are going to be good. You're going to barrel that ball up just by being a professional athlete, a high school athlete. If you're looking for something and take a swing, it's all muscle memory. You're going to barrel the ball. Another thing that I pound to my players is you swing too hard, you lose barrel accuracy. So those 3 points right there, I pound into major league hitters. Where are you looking for it? What are you going to do with it? If you swing too hard, you lose barrel accuracy. Depth determines direction. Depth determines launch angle. You want to catch a little more launch angle, you catch it a little more out front.
Yeah.
You want a little more of a line drive, you know?
That's
awesome. In, middle, away, middle, in, all this stuff. It's about approach.
That's awesome. I mean, and that's good stuff. And one of the things that, you know, obviously, and not to completely like, Natalie, I'm sorry, now we're talking hitting and it's getting very technical. And,
do your thing.
But one of my favorite things is obviously, and I consider you more, and not to say I'm not trying to call you old, I'm just more like old school in terms of like hitting and understanding approach. And the new wave stuff is like tech this, metric that, you know, launch angle this. And it's been really hard, I think, for a lot of guys from, you know, past generations as players to even just stick around. They're hiring 28-year-old kids that, you know, have a lot of tech in their facilities and telling them they can coach in the big leagues. And I don't think that can ever replace like the information that you can give. And I think again, going back to what I said before, one of my favorite things about you is like, you know how to interact with players, and hey, I remember what this feels like. And it's a testament to you and how good you are as a hitting coach, to the fact that you are a hitting coach in the big leagues right now. And for that, you know, it's awesome. I think that's just more of a compliment than it is anything else. So,
well, you know what, you gotta find a way to coach everybody differently. That's the biggest thing. That's what players compliment me on a lot, is that I don't have one way or the highway. I have to teach every person differently, how they think, how they, you know, what they perceive, you know, perception, real versus feel, you know. So I'm able to break it down. I'm able to say the same thing 5 different ways.
Absolutely.
But, you know, you got a round bat and a round ball. You got to be short to it and long through it. Otherwise, you're looking for trouble. You got to have a swing path for every part of the strike zone. So, you know, these new school guys that they want to call themselves, all these swing analysts, round bat, round ball, fellas. There ain't much. You're saying the same thing that I do a different way, and you're making it technical. Go ahead, have at it. But in this game, you got to keep it simple.
Yeah, that's right.
Basics.
Yeah, you got to keep it simple.
And the game can get hard. And I think to your point, it's everybody learns differently. So some players might need, you know, the mechanical, the technical, and that's okay. And that's fine. Like I'm not questioning anyone. I feel like we're forgetting too much though about the thing that you talked about is hitting. Like at the end of the day, we have to hit, and hitters are going to hit, and they need to understand how to play the game and understand situations and moments. And the thing that you just said, you have a different swing for every zone, every part of the zone. I said this to a kid, to a college kid a little while ago. I said, I don't think I've ever faced the same pitch twice. And if you think about it, right, like a guy's got, a 91, 92 little sink, whatever it is, that maybe that 191 went like this and the other one went like that. And even if they're in the same location, they're in a little bit different location. So as a hitter, I have to build the ability to create a million different swings. I have to be able to hit a ball here and the same way I hit a ball down and away, and everything in between. And I think that's the kind of the beauty and the reason why hitting is art. And it takes special people to really be good at it, because you have to deal with a lot of negative emotion that is involved in it.
And Frank, based on his experiences, that's what makes him a great, hitting coach, a teacher, because he learns his players. He gets to know them personally one by one and figures out what it is, because everyone's different. So, and
to that point, Natalie, I want to know, when was your last at bat? When was the last time you took an at bat?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh my God, years. And a batting cage had to be years. I haven't picked up a bat in a long time.
All right, Frank, what can we do for her? How can we get her better?
Well, she has to start taking dry swings to get her muscles in shape.
Okay.
Natalie, next year we're going to do a 1-year anniversary show with Frank, and we're going to do it in a batting cage, because I'm going to assume that by then we'll be able to interact as humans. And by then our show will at least be picked up by like one network.
Without a doubt. I mean, we're the most popular live stream out there. Do you understand?
Yeah, I'm guessing we're either going to be, it could be ESPN, but we might be like E. We could do like E! True Hollywood Stories, like that. Because I think we're more entertainment than we are sports, right?
So maybe we should start a sports sector on Bravo.
Yeah. I have one more question before we go to rapid fire. New skipper in town in Chicago. Is that right?
Yeah, so I got to call him soon, so we got to speed this up.
All right, so we'll go to rapid fire. Well, another guy with a vowel on the end of his last name. So we're excited to have Italian representation in Chicago. Make sure you tell the powers that be there. It said you can't go wrong with Paisan.
Well, I do, because the name's about the end over there, and you're going to Chicago with LaRusso. Frank Sinatra days. You had Frank Sinatra back with the A's. You're going to bring him back, or you bring him to Chicago?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I already told Tony. Tony already thinks I'm crazy, so I've been talking to him a little bit, and he's in for a treat, because I'm just gonna blast it and see what he does.
And one of my favorite things that I read about you was that you were in the clubhouse, blasted Sinatra in a robe, dancing and swaying across the clubhouse with a martini glass in your hand. So
too bad. I wish it was full.
Hey.
Hey, that's a championship player right there. He's the guy that keeps the clubhouse loose and fun.
Exactly.
All right, what's rapid fire?
All right, we got 5 rapid fire questions. And Natalie always asks the first one. Now, I want you to know something, Frank. The shot clock on rapid fire is supposed to be like 15 seconds. And since you got to go, I think you could do it. We haven't had our rapid fire last less than 10 minutes. So it's 5 questions. It's supposed to be go, 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 go. But we don't. Yeah. We don't stick to it because we all talk too much. So Natalie will ask you the first one, and then I'm on for the next 4.
So the first one is my favorite, and I was validated last week when we were on the Order of Sons and Daughters in Italy of America. Sauce or gravy?
Sauce.
Yes. Thank you.
You win. All right. So that's 1. Number 2. Tiramisu or cannoli?
Cannoli.
All right. You're 2 for 2 in my book.
Yeah.
This is a weird one. Playing or coaching?
Coaching.
Really?
Definitely coaching.
Man, I want to expand on that, but I know you got to go. So, lasagna or ravioli?
Ravioli.
So, I'm still with you. The third one I'm still questioning because I haven't done the other one yet. Last one. Sopranos or Jersey Shore?
Sopranos.
If you said Jersey Shore, I would have respected it because I think you were thinking it in your mind. Did you watch that show?
Me and my friends were Jersey Shore before 20 years before that show came out.
That's why I figured it would be appropriate, you know?
Nah, they're clowns.
You were friends with Paulie D and
no, that was us 20 years ago, but we would go to the clubs and beat everybody up. They don't beat nobody up.
Well, hey, man, it was a pleasure. I have to apologize to everyone. Joe, I'm so sorry. I owe you one. I mean, I could make the argument that, I don't get paid to do this, so I'm sorry, but I apologize. Frank, what a pleasure, as always. I will talk to you soon. Be well. Happy
Thank you so much.
Happy new coaching staff in Chicago, and I look forward to watching your guys out there. You got a fun young team. So
you got it. Nice talking to you guys.
Pleasure, man. Thank you so much.
Thank
Natalie?
you.
All right, Natalie. Take care.